to my aesthetic response of Lao Shi's Rickshaw Boy by Heather Decker. I hope you enjoy. In Rickshaw Boy, the reader explores the hardships that come with being subject to the peasant class through the main character, Shangzi. Shangzi was born as a rickshaw puller, and his entire life he tries to escape the peasant class through hard work, being a moral and ethical person, and even marriage. However, his failed attempts demonstrate how strongly the class distinctions oppress the Chinese people. Once subject to the peasant class, or merely born into it, as Shangzi was, it's hopeless to expect a life without toil. Next, Lao Shi shows how the aforementioned suppression begins squeezing the peasants pitilessly, forcing them to turn to corrupt means for survival. The society became rigged to reward the cunning at the expense of the honest. This is an outstanding theme throughout the novel, as Shangzi, initially a moral and hardworking man, is battered by repeated tragedies, causing him to lose hope and become a cheat, drunk, and careless. Throughout the novel, the author Lao Shi demonstrates how desperate the poor were, willing to even turn on one another through thievery and murder. But this was merely survival of the fittest in a society of uncertainty. As the novel progresses and Shangzi's life continues to unravel, this theme becomes even more prevalent. This is illustrated in a scene when Shangzi is talking to a grandfather who is also a rickshaw puller. But who gets on well? My body and bones were sound and my character good when I started out. I came straight on down the road to where I am now and ended up like this. Sound body? Even men of iron can't get out of the snare of a world we're in. So you have a good character. But what good is that? At this point in the novel, Shangzi accepts his place in the peasant class, and Lao Shi writes, "Men have separated themselves from the animals, but now have driven their own kind back among the beasts." Shangzi remained in this cultured city, but he was being transformed into an animal. Not a bit of it was his own fault. He had stopped thinking, and therefore the human being in him was destroyed. He bore no responsibility for that at all. He'd never hope again. He'd just sink blindly, stupidly, lower and lower into a bottomless pit.
Waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting. Waiting on the world to change. One day.
Through the story of Shangzi, the author, Lao Shi, is speaking out against the class system in China, which has perpetuated a corrupt and individualistic world that has lost sight of the greater good, and in its wake, it's left many victims of fate, such as Shangzi. Overall, I'd say this is an excellent book that brings enormous perspective into the ideologies and values that have founded another culture, the Chinese culture.